Hello everyone, I'm Mike Sokol from Church Sound University, and welcome to my next video on microphone mechanics. Today we're going to do something I call Pastor Mike's 4 ways. And while mixing the praise team is certainly important to your worship service, I think the most critical microphone in many cases is the one that your pastor uses to deliver the message. So picking the right microphone is critical for this. There's a variety of ways to handle pastor miking. Some are easy and some are hard, but all will work if you understand their strengths and weaknesses. I'm going to show you the 4 most popular methods to mic your pastor and a few tricks I've learned along the way to help get the best sound for each of them. Remember, no matter what you and your sound team have come up with, your pastor has to agree to it, so him or her has to be comfortable with your selections. So let's get into it. Handheld mics, I think, are very, very popular in many churches. One of the advantages, it's very, very easy to work the microphone. That is, if they want to get really loud, they can back it off a few inches, or they can get closer and softer for a more intimate sound. But this depends upon them knowing how to actually work the mic properly. Most good vocal mics have a built-in windscreen to help reduce these plosives and wind noises, these peepops. Quality microphones should have an internal rubber shock mount on the capsule to help reduce handling noise and thumps and bumps. If this is a wireless RF microphone, you'll probably want to flip it to, there's a little switch inside many of them that's called padding it. And what you're going to do is reduce the amount of sound level going into the preamp inside the microphone itself. So if your pastor gets close on the mic and starts shouting, you don't overload and distort it there. Many Shure microphones have that switch. Many Sennheiser microphones have something similar, but it's set within the software and the little rotary dial on the bottom. Let you see what this looks like. So this is just an AKG 535. I've got this positioned about 2 fingers or so below my chin. This is a real good place because, first off, they can see your face. Secondly, it doesn't get these peepops and plosives, right? But one of the disadvantages of this is it's hard for you to control what people are doing with the microphone. It doesn't work very well down here, right? It doesn't work very well up here or over here. So it is possible for your best efforts to be messed up by someone that really doesn't know how to use the microphone. Still, this is probably the most universal one for a lot of praise services, and it works quite well. Okay, I'm on a podium mic right now. A couple of tricks. They should have a rubber-covered boom arm for quiet adjustment. Some of them creak when you move them, which is really kind of, you can't mix that out anyway. You just can't. It's just what it is. You want to pick a cardioid or supercardioid microphone pattern. That gives you the best possibility of rejecting room sound. Some earlier ones were omnis, which sounded really bad. There were also some that were dynamic that didn't have the same clarity. A good cardioid or supercardioid condenser capsule is really the best. You will probably want to add a windscreen to reduce vocal plosives, especially if somebody gets close to it and has a lot of breathy speech. I like to mount the microphone to the one side and about 6 to 12 inches away from the person doing the speaking. That's really the optimum distance. They're not really designed to be right up on your face, and they don't work well much over a foot or so away. And you can, in fact, add rubber table mounts to help reduce this floor thump and pulpit thumps. You can see I've got this one located about 5 or 6 inches away from my face. It's working quite well. However, you've got to make sure people are stationary in the middle of the pulpit. If they go leaning off axis like this, it doesn't work very well. If they get right on top of it, it's going to distort it. So even though this may not be the optimum microphone for a lot of situations, this is still a great backup microphone, and you'll certainly want one over on your lectern or wherever people come up to make announcements. It's just what it is, but you can see this one actually sounds pretty good like this. Okay, now let's talk about lavalier mic placement. They're very comfortable for most people to wear, and that's the standard go-to mic for a lot of churches. However, you've got to position them properly to have them sound as good as possible. First off, optimum place is probably 1 to 2 inches above the bottom of the breastbone. Too much higher than that and your chin gets away of the sound. Too much lower than that, they don't get enough direct sound. Don't position it on the collar or inside of a shirt or sweater. If it's up on the one side of the collar, when they move their head one side or the other, it can jump in and out of the mic. Inside of a shirt or sweater is going to pick up a lot of clothing noise. Plus it will sound muffled just because of having to go through those layers of cloth. So that's not a good thing. It needs to be on the outside. Make sure you set the proper mic sensitivity or gain inside of the belt pack. Normally there will be a little screwdriver adjustment on earlier belt packs that allows you to set the proper gain inside of the mic, depending upon the sensitivity of the microphone capsule that you're using. The more modern ones, actually, it's a software setting you do. You flip open the cover on it, and I'll do a video later just on setting that for a variety of microphone types. And finally, you're going to want to add a windscreen if you're going to be outside at all, simply because wind noise is a big problem if you're going to be doing an Easter sunrise service. Even sometimes if you're inside of a church and you've got a ceiling fan above you, you get inside of an air conditioning airstream, I still like to do, whenever possible, just to add a little foam windscreen on them. That's some of my better ideas for lavalier mic placement. I've got this one positioned right beside this button here. I say, put it about 4 or 5 fingers. I just put your pinky right in your sternum, run it up here. That's about the right spot. Right at the V of a man's golf shirt is about a good position. If it's off to one side or the other, when they turn their heads, it's going to all go away. You do have to watch for this. If they go down and start talking, you can get P-plosives like that, which is why I tend to add a windscreen if I can, just to help avoid that extra little pickup thing. Finally, let's talk about headset mics. They're available in both omnidirectional and cardioid patterns. Omnis can work pretty well in many cases because they're close to the mouth. They don't do as well in really, really high SPL sound pressure level services. If you're going to use a floor wedge to get your pastor's voice back to him or her, you're going to want to pick a cardioid pattern headset. I happen to be using a DPA Define right here. And you can see I've got it positioned just about a finger width off of my face and very close to the edge of the mouth. You don't want to position these in front of people's mouths. They really can't take P-pops very well. Okay, so let's review. This is what I sound like on a headset mic. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is what I sound like on a lavalier microphone. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is what I sound like on a pulpit microphone. Still, I can actually sound pretty good. I've got them all gain matched pretty carefully, right? Testing 1, 2, 3. And finally, this is what we sound like on a standard handheld microphone. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for my next microphone mechanics episode. I'm Mike Sokol for Church Sound University.